Part D. Soil that contains 30% clay is added to soil that contains 70% clay to create 10 gallons of soil containing 50% clay. How much of each of the soils was combined? So let's work this one through together. We know that some soil was 30% clay. We also know that some soil was 70% clay. We don't know how much of either of those amounts there is, and that's going to be a problem. It gave us 10 gallons of soil that were 50% clay. So what we're going to do here is we're going to add the blue to the green to get the pink. Our first amount, we don't know. But we know that it's 30% clay. Our second amount, we also don't know. But we know that it's 70% clay. Our third amount, we know it's 10 gallons. And it's half clay. So I know that when I add these two, I'll get the pink one. The tricky part is figuring out how I can deal with these two unknowns. I don't want to guess and check. That's going to take way too long. So here's a trick that mathematicians use. Let's pick one of them. Let's pick the first one. Let's say the first one is x units. I don't know what that x is, so I can't really figure out the other one, except that I can. Because if this is x units, my green one has to be 10 minus x units. So think about that. If x is 1, the green one has to be 10 minus 1, or 9. If x is 3, the green one has to be 10 minus 3, or 7. So even though I have two unknowns, kind of, I can represent them with only one variable, which is perfect, because what I have now allows me to solve an equation. On the left, I'm starting with x gallons of something, and 30% of it is clay. So I'm taking 0.3 times x. In green, I have 10 minus x gallons of something, and 70% of it is clay. When I add those together, I get my 10 gallons, and half of those 10 gallons are clay. So this was a little tricky because this time I was looking for an unknown amount of stuff rather than a percent. But I still built my equation, which I can solve. There's an extra step here. I'll need to distribute in the green to make the 10 minus x into more usable terms. So I've got 0.3x plus, and then I'll distribute 10 times 0.7 gives me 7, minus x times 0.7 gives me 0.7x. And that's going to be equal 10 times 0.5, which is 5. Now I'm ready to combine like terms. So on the left, I've got 0.3x and minus 0.7x. When I combine those, I get minus 0.4x. But I still have that plus 7, and that's equal to 5. My next step would be to subtract 7 from both sides, giving me negative 0.4x equals negative 2. To finish solving, I'll divide both sides by negative 0.4, and I get x equals, I've got a negative divided by a negative, so my answer will be positive, which is good because I wouldn't want to talk about negative gallons of soil. I'm taking 2 divided by 0.4, which gives me 5. So x is 5. Therefore, each of these containers was 5 gallons. The container on the left was 5 gallons because x is equal to 5. The container on the right was 5 gallons because 10 minus 5 is also 5.